Chapter 25. Both by Thought and Feeling. I heard a man say, "Not by thought, but by feeling, we enter the kingdom of heaven." The evidence is that this is true of the majority, but it is not universally true. It is a mistake for anyone to attempt to measure the limits of the possible by his own limitations and capacities. There are instances of realization in which thought played a part not inferior to feeling. Gautama Buddha and Shankara are examples, and certainly in the latter case, thought predominated. Further, in the instance of Immanuel Kant, we have a genuine, if not complete, realization, and if there ever was a man who was a veritable incarnation of cognition, that man was Kant. For my own part, I have always found that cognition, when highly purified, could fly higher than feeling. It is perfectly true that transcendental knowledge is beyond thought, but at the same time it is equally beyond feeling and sensation. None of these three can be more than accessory instruments, and all of them are left behind at the final transition. Still, it remains unquestionably true that the preponderant bulk of the instruction pointing out the way emphasizes the silencing of thought, while feeling may still continue. But this is merely a pragmatic rule designed to meet the needs of the greater number. Doubtless, with most men, the greater power of soaring is in the principle of feeling, and naturally the greater opportunity for the success lies along the course of the most developed power. If, in a given case, the evolution of thought has not reached beyond the lower levels, then this thought may well serve to hobble the freer roving feeling. In such a case, the shorter road normally will be through an emancipated feeling. But all this is only a general rule and should not be universalized into a law. This leads to the practical question as to which subpath a given individual should follow. It is determined by the quality which actually is most potent in the inner life of the individual. A man may be exceptionally skillful in the exercise of the power of thought, and yet in his inner nature be genuinely grounded in feeling. Representatives of this class are not rare. Intellectually brilliant men who genuinely love to attend symbolic religious services are very apt to be instances. I do not mean men who attend or participate in such services as an example to others, a perfectly valid reason, but those who attend for their own sakes. In this, they reveal what they really are, rather than what they seem to be because of an exercised skill. But in the case of the man for whom thought is the really decisive power, it is quite different. He may be more or less brilliant than the formal example. The important differentia is that life is implanted in his thought rather than his feelings. The important differentia is that his life is implanted in his thought rather than in his feeling. For him, the concept and not the symbol is the open sesame that discloses value. Thought and feeling constitute the basis of two distinct subpaths or disciplines. Although these two fuse and become one at the end, it is difficult, if not quite impossible, for a man to succeed through a discipline foreign to his essential nature. It is good practice, therefore, for an aspirant at an early age to acquire some familiarity with several disciplines. Footnote: these are forms of yoga, for which see my book on yoga, its technique and practice. He will find himself more in sympathy with one course of self-training than with others, and this will be indicative of what, for him, is the way.